as he set out down the path. Reynardo wondered why the parts of the Sky Ripper had only surfaced now, thousands of years after the Transcendent Emperor had discarded it. This Emperor, Isengrim III, had performed terrible, bloodthirsty rituals to invoke the lost gods. Perhaps that was bringing up lost artifacts. How perfect, then, that the Sky Ripper would reappear to be his destruction. And, hopefully this time, just his destruction.
I wonder if part of our gamble here is that we're hoping if we use it in a different context that the dice roll will play out differently. Or if that 1 in 128 chance is always going to be coming up heads every time. On our heads, precisely. We'll have to see. Chop, chop, chop. Anything over here? We can go off in that direction, but let's check out the door. I probably didn't have a void sword the first time I came here, right?
It was time for a little exploration.
Was that a reference to Adventure Time? Like he meant to say like he was about to say time for adventure, but then you hesitate for a second and say something else to escape the the copyright. Oh no, it's this staircase. I'm so predictable in my exploration, aren't I? I try to pick new directions to go in, but then I always inevitably recognize where I'm going, which means that the part of my brain that tries to find a new place to go to inevitably makes the same reaction every single time, which is problematic for me. By the way, I just realized that I was talking about going towards the ability to dash through shield characters when I already have the ability to just slice their shield away. I guess dashing through them as a capability is still not entirely worthless, though. Doesn't hurt to have the ability, because it is supplementary to just being it is a supplement to just slashing away at them in the first place. But yeah, I may have forgotten a few details about my character build, because it's been a little bit since I last played. A little longer than I meant for it to be, too. Sorry about that. Here we go.
He was tired of slaughtering ravens. Maybe it was time to test out the new weapon. He turned a knob on the Sky Ripper. It made strange mechanical noises. The wheels spun faster. It began to hum. The Sky Ripper was following his every step. At least it acknowledged him as the master. But there was no trigger. How was he supposed to fire it? Fire, he said. Nothing happened. Well, maybe it just needed to warm up. After all, it hadn't been fired in thousands of years.
Interesting. He had no trouble firing it before. And he did fire it before. What did I do when I fired it last time, I wonder?
Ooh, wouldn't his gauntlet look swell with that jewel in it?
I'm good for now. You kind of think that he'd remember, because he seems to remember the other details along the way. Although he seems to be fuzzy about the details, honestly. Like he's not entirely sure about whether or not he remembers things the way he thinks he does. Ooh, it's firing lasers now, at least. That's cool. That's one way to make these fights go a little smoother, is have a magical floating thing that fires lasers at everybody. That said, 1 in 128 chance.
The Sky Ripper was making a whining noise now, and its wheels were spinning so fast he could no longer see them. Reynardo had a thought. Please? He asked. The Sky Ripper began to glow. Boom! The outpost burst into flame. Ravens flapped out screaming, wings on fire. The base was his. The far speaker toad came hopping out. Reynardo! It croaked, sounding like a toad version of Zenobia. Don't use the Sky Ripper! It will destroy the world! Yeah, sure it will, cracked Reynardo. Pull the other one. If you don't trust me, go see Calaveras. He'll tell you the same thing. Oh, she would say that. That sounded sensible. Why did she always have to sound sensible all the time? Oh, it was infuriating. Of course she would say that. He was supposed to hurry and bring the Sky Ripper to the council so the rebels could actually win the war. But what if she was right? Damn it.
Zenobia's talking through the frogs. Nope, we're gonna be committed and reckless.
Just this once, he would not let Zenobia get into his head with her logic and her wisdom and her appeals to reason. He was a fox. He'd go with his instincts, and it would all work out like it always did. Oh, he was sounding like a reckless idiot, even to himself. But if there was one thing Reynardo could never bring himself to do, it was turn back on a decision he'd made.
I suppose that's one thing that's consistent with how this game handles decisions. No take-backs. Well, until the next playthrough.
Imperials were flapping and cawing all around the ruins. They must be panicking with rumors flying of the superweapon. Maybe they hoped to find and destroy the base before he could put the Sky Ripper into action. The Sky Ripper was whining and heating up. It would be time to use that energy soon.
I'm curious what happens if I just ignore that chest, because there was an obvious door back there. I figured, let's just not go that way and see what happens, because I so often follow those chests. I mean, I keep saying chests for some reason. I so often open every door I see. So I'm seeing if there's a bit more variety.
Hypatia. Oh, she'd been an amazing rabbit. She could talk to him about comics, and talk to her son about history and battles, and talk to scholars about the ancient tomes hidden deep in the vaults of the library of Ubar. Oh, Reynardo really missed her.
Seems like he really lost someone he cared about. I'm a little surprised how little that's expressed early on. It's just like, oh, we gotta protect this kid because we made a promise to her mom, whoever that is. I don't know, they're dead or something. It's like, there's almost something joking about the way they handle some of the story.
Tempted to just stand on the device and let it do all the killing for him. But that wouldn't be sporting, would it? Reynardo had never had a super weapon before. He'd single-handedly taken down an Imperial base. He felt good. He'd resisted all the distractions that were thrown in his path. He couldn't wait to attack the enemy fleet.
I like the little touch here that this thing is actually affecting my gameplay options, which makes it feel like a more of an actual thing that exists. Oh, hey. It makes the story feel like it's actually affecting the gameplay mechanics in an interesting way, instead of just being dialogue. Because I genuinely have a super weapon, and it is just flattening things.
What was Zenobia talking about? This was a fantastic weapon. Ravens burst into flames with just a touch of its killer beam. He was tempted to leave it on all the time, but he didn't want to accidentally slice off some council toad's head or tongue. She'd been trying to distract him. Well, this time, no one was going to distract him. You blinked.
I am under attack. Bye. Here we go. All clear. And we only had to murder everything.
So he was close to the rebel base. Nothing was on fire. So far, so good.
Not yet. I might change that pretty soon here. If I end up turning on the Sky Ripper again. We'll learn real fast why that could be a problem. Whoa, did I one-shot that guy? Or is the Sky Ripper just causing that much damage in the background? Seems possible. Everyone seems to have less hit points than I expect them to.
The new aerobics craze. Am I right?
I get it, camera, but I'm opening this door over here. There we go. Hup, hup. Give me all of your hit points, and energy, and hit points. Oh, those aren't even weapons. They were ores. Oh wow, it's just all health. What a bummer. I don't think I got anything useful out of that. No ore and no energy. And it's a golden chest. Why do I even bother? Alright, onward.
As he headed towards the council chamber, Reynardo felt everyone watching him. "You've saved the rebellion," said the council speaker. "Frankly, we were afraid you'd turn aside to save that idiot Lapino." Not bloody lightly, Reynardo told them, feeling he was maybe being a bit harsh on the poor mad rabbit. "If you never make sacrifices," he said, "you're probably not doing the right thing." The speaker nodded. "Are you ready to lead the charge?" "Let's roll." he said, with grim satisfaction. Reynardo set sail for the fleet. The Sky Ripper had lost its wine. It was humming now, as if it had taken some time to seat properly. He had always been irresponsible. This time, he'd done the right thing, made the hard decisions. He was a real hero. He hadn't let himself be distracted by old friends or old lovers turned enemies. Finally, he could be proud of himself.
That's pretty much the definition of counting your eggs before they hatch. Let's see how we ruin things in our finale. Is it the finale? I think this is the last mission. The airships.
He was ready. So was Sky Ripper. The Sky Ripper had a will of its own. It picked out its own targets and set them on fire. This was going to be a short battle. He would set the ships on fire if he didn't need them to get to the Emperor. And he wondered if he'd see Zenobia, or if she'd flee. Wouldn't she be proud of him? At least a bit of respect. He'd become an all-conquering hero. The road less traveled, thought Reynardo. How intriguing.
Oh, we leveled up again, huh? Hello? Hello, hello. Alright, Stormer. Right, I got mixed up about where I was going. I didn't even go towards dash towards enemies. I got a storm recovery and then forgot. True sword fu combo threshold. Just gives you more and more attack distance at higher combos. Yeah? Lowering that to 20 would be handy. I have moments where I kind of just expect it to be active all the time. So when it's not active and I attack air, I'm kind of confused when I don't actually dash across towards an enemy. I should probably increase meters again soon too though. Just to make my health and my energy a bit bigger. There's obvious benefits to that. Come on. It's so sufficiently dramatic the way they animate that. Here we go. Oh, it missed. It didn't even attach to the thing correctly. Interesting.
There was a parchment on a signpost. It was from her. Every time you fire, you risk the destruction of the universe. That's insane. We surrender. He'd done it. He'd played chicken with Zenobia and won. He could hear the horns blaring the retreat. She was wiser than he was, that was for sure. But wisdom didn't win battles.
And that's her downfall? Oh yeah, I can't read this. That's just all it says. Did she just lose? Are they truly giving up? Because they're terrified of me using this weapon. I'm wondering, it was like 1 out of every 128 chances, right? When it shoots, when I'm fighting random dudes, is that rolling the dice, or is that just a different type of attack? Is it the giant explosion that takes out an entire base that causes that specific effect? Oops. Taking some hits. My bad. There's some damage. Oops. Attack in air. The flippity flippity. Going through the air like flip flip. Alright. Always more stuff to destroy, because apparently I just hate pottery. All of it.
What did you do if one of these platforms stalled?
Just fire the Sky Ripper a few times and see what happens. It'll solve itself. I'm sure it will. I don't even have to defeat everybody. I'll just wander off in a different direction, and the Sky Ripper, various enemies will just die off camera from Sky Rippers. Or the Sky Ripper. Yeah, between the Sky Ripper following me around and having this... Uh-oh. That was a mistake. Between the Sky Ripper following me around and my dash speed being really high now, this whole playthrough is just getting shorter. Dear Lord, my movement speed is way up.
Have you ever felt you were just going round in circles? Reynardo felt like that.
Is there going to be a platform? Or did we just win? Oh, over here. Whoops. Didn't see this. Because I've gone over there before that way, I think. Yeah, there's a whole path leading up to that platform. I think some of the possible pathways just kind of rearrange themselves over time. It happens. Ooh, wave 2 already. I got to hit the guy's shield and use it as a projectile. Satisfying. I see you, power worm. Nope. Oop. Don't interrupt me, I'm busy. You'll pay for that. Well, not really. You're just dead. I didn't really make any money off of that. Here we go.
And there was Zenobia, wearing the white robes of surrender. She came and kneeled before him. Why didn't you listen to me? I was trying to save you too. You're the enemy, he said. I was never your enemy, Reynardo. Then she spoke a terrible word and made a gesture with her hand. She stopped moving, covered in frost, and he wondered why she'd frozen herself. Then the Sky Ripper froze, and then, for a moment, he felt very cold and discovered that he couldn't move. The next thing he knew, the sun was a giant, monstrously red. It took up half the sky, and he was in a parched red desert. And then he was on fire. He should go back to some of the choices he'd faced before. Maybe there were new paths that had opened up, like those doors he was opening up all over the map that took him to new treasures and around his enemies. But he'd learned another true thing. Zenobia still had feelings for him.
I was really worried until that last line. I'm like, did we learn anything new, or did we not get anything new? Because I felt like we just screwed up again. Reynardo Nukem, a hero who does not let anything get in the way of his mission. Alright, so we went to full hero mode, and it led to, once again, everyone dying. Or possibly myself and Zenobia dying? We got frozen and burned. That's actually one of the more weirdly ambiguous, like, what's going on? Endings? There's that last statue we needed, though. Zenobia has feelings for Reynardo. +2 levels. So we'll have to see if that unlocks new possibilities or not. It's definitely the first thing we found on this particular row. We now have all 4 figurines, all 4 things, so we must have access now to whatever this great ending is. Whatever that might entail. I have no idea. It'll be fun trying to figure it out. Huh. The funny thing is I can't help but feel like, out of all these things, that was the most obvious one, right? Like, we had to play with this thing to find out that it has a chance of destroying the world. We had to play with this thing to find out that it corrupts you. We had to fall into Lupino's trap to find out that he was a traitor, but the hardest secret to find, that being that Zenobia has feelings for Reynardo? That's like barely a revelation. I felt like we already knew that. But at least it's there now.
The book's pages fluttered to the beginning once again, faster than before, and he fell. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Reynardo knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong, but he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lupino needed rescuing. Of course, Reynardo had a pretty strong suspicion that Lupino had betrayed the rebellion, and he had a gut feeling that he needed to use that to his advantage.
Oh, wow. Now there's a giant, obvious gold key to indicate what's probably where we go next if we want to find the actual ending. Alright guys, thanks for watching like always, and I'll see you next time.